All right. This is the first episode of the Happy Hour.
Here we are.
This is I'm Rich Apple. This is my podcast, little comedy podcast. My co-host. There's a saying that is this man needs no introduction. That does not apply to my co-host.
I think I absolutely.
He very much needs an introduction. This is Taylor Schmidt.
Hi.
Failed comedian.
Extraordinaire. Failed comedian.
Some would say you can't fail when you've never started. And that would apply to Taylor.
Yeah.
He's a very successful graphic designer. If by successful you mean that you've designed one mural in a taco place that closed down a month into your mural.
Yeah, I feel like the gauge of a successful graphic designer is employed. They're like just employed. I'm an employed graphic designer. Hugely successful. They say that about lawyers. They say
That's the one field where you're like, who's the most successful doctor? And you're like, oh, it's the guy who created like penicillin. When it comes to graphic designers, you're like, this guy has had a job for 2 years.
Yeah,
it's
but
a pretty good job.
Yeah, at least for the most part, it's old and white. You know, that's the successful doctor, successful graphic designer, famous, old and white. Cut that.
Oh no, we can't start now. Oh no.
Yeah.
I was hoping when you said old and white, you didn't mean like an old white person.
I did mean an old white
I know,
person.
and as that continued, I was like, oh, the algorithm has already gotten rid of the podcast. We are already out of this already. Oh boy.
I was told by my fiance, it's great to say. It's great. It's a great
female fiance.
Female.
If you want to cancel us more. Sorry.
How dare they?
Sorry, she's a woman.
Yes. She said to me right before I left, she said, nothing racy. Don't say anything racist. Don't say anything sexist. And I feel like we've almost failed a meeting.
And let me tell you something. We checked those boxes off 2.5 minutes in.
You gotta clear the filter. You gotta like get it out, and then you're like, okay, now we can start. You know what I mean?
Right.
People are gonna be like, why does it feel like this started 20 minutes into a conversation? No introduction. We cut the introduction.
He jumped right in head first. I even texted you this. I said we should probably start the podcast in blackface.
Yeah.
So if we start the podcast in blackface and the
That
first video,
was-
you can't tell. I can't get rid of it now.
That was the baseline. That was the baseline of the idea, and we built out. And it was the start of the brainstorm. So you gotta do blackface.
Walking in blackface also bring up how everyone in your field is old and white. No one in your field is old and white.
No, I'm talking about like you gauge. Thank you for letting me clarify my point, because I do feel like there's a little bit of something there. The successful graphic designer is a famous graphic designer, right? That's a graphic designer that you know. And the only graphic designers that are like famous, you seem to know, are like Milton Glaser just died. I don't know if you know him. He's the guy who did the I Love New York t-shirt. Very successful graphic designer.
Okay.
Because students know him. You're taught about him.
Okay.
Old white guy.
Gotcha.
Obviously wasn't always old, always white.
Yes. I'll just speak for all the listeners right now that we didn't know there were famous graphic designers. This is news to a lot of people.
All right. Well, then that's what we're that's it. That's the hour, right? I'm taking over. This is now a graphic design podcast.
This is
up.
now the Schmidt second.
Yeah. Exactly.
It went from the Happy Hour to the Schmidt second. This is all we learned now. It's just one famous graphic designer. People were, you were like, just, all the students learn about him. And we were like, we were all students at one point.
Paul Rand. You can't go anywhere.
I know Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's doodled something.
They're cousins. I don't know if you did.
Is Andy Warhol a graphic designer?
He has some graphic design experience. He's an artist, but he was an illustrator early in his career for like a magazine.
See, the difference between an artist and a graphic designer to me is what goes on a can of Coke. That's the difference.
That's pretty good. You've pretty much paid for your first year of graphic design school.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, you're pretty good. You would be amazed at how much explanation needs to go into what is graphic design.
Right.
Stupid amount of time, because a lot of people go, well, is it drawing pictures? Sorta.
Not sort of.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it painting? It could be. Yeah, sure. Is it fonts? Yeah, definitely. Definitely type. Yeah, whatever. It's really ambiguous. You commercial. You put it on a can of Coke. That's it's art and it's a. So we lost everybody.
We lost everyone. I have a very odd demographic that's going to start listening to this podcast. It's usually an upper middle class person that went to an okay school. That's usually what it is. They have a degree in, if it's a girl, it's a degree in marketing. If it's a guy, it's a degree in business, not finance, business.
Yeah.
They couldn't get into the business school, so they just have a bachelor's in business. That's who I'm selling this to. And you're coming in here and you're talking about the guy who designed I Heart New York, all right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. My dad already turned this podcast off because he said it's gay.
So wait, your dad is in the demographic or outside of the demographic? It doesn't sound like he would be in the demographic by any means.
He's
right?
in neither.
So mission accomplished, right? Because everybody else is in there. Your dad's out. Now we can just talk shit on your dad for the rest of the hour, which was the original idea.
Yeah, I spent $400 on equipment.
Yeah.
To do that. I got a message to send out. I don't know what the message is.
The Happle Hour refers to an hour of shit talking Dad Happle. I do not know your dad's first name.
No,
so
it's just shit talking. I'm going down the family tree. We're going to start from the first Happle ever. This is really a history lesson on Happles.
And a Happle tree. Very funny.
Oh, that would have been a good podcast.
Nothing great. Yeah, the Happle tree where we just shit on your family for an hour. Let's call this, this was a wash. Let's start the Happle tree. Who was the first Happle? Do you know the first Happle? I don't know anything about my family beyond like 2 generations.
Yeah, so it's weird with my family is when we grow up, you like every Sunday you go to Sunday school, and then right after you go to Happle school. And they teach you. It's basically the same lesson, except like that's how the Happle started. Yeah, the Happle Church is a cheesecake factory. That's why it's designed that way. You walk in and you're like, "This is really overdone," and you're like, "Yes,
Yeah. Wow.
yes, it is." Would you like the chicken franchise?
Yeah. What is it? 17 pages in the menu of the Cheesecake Factory?
Yeah, it's probably more than that. The Happles are kind of like the Mormons. There's a Book of Happle, and you open it up, and the Book of Mormon was found by John Smith in the mountains of Utah, and the Book of Happle was found in
Buckley Happle.
Buckley.
That's what I'm guessing. The first Happle.
No, the first Happle name it was Adam and Eve.
Adam.
Yeah, we gotta tell you the Happle legacy here. You don't know shit.
Yeah.
We should get you baptized into the Church of Happle, and that's usually baptized in a thing of Budweiser.
Yeah.
And
just flick it at you. You just get it's nothing. None of this. None of the thumb over the baby forehead.
no, it's they do it with a skunked beer because they don't want to waste a good beer on you.
They flick a bottle cap at your head, and the droplets get onto your forehead.
Yeah. So how's the? Now that we've lost everyone.
All right. So famous graphic designers. Check.
Famous graphic designers.
Yeah.
So what's been going on with? This is the first time I see you since quarantine.
Oh God.
I saw you, I think, a week or two before quarantine started.
Is that pho?
We met at our usual pho spot.
That's it.
That's really the only thing that's holding me and Taylor's friendship together. This
certainly is. This certainly will not be.
It's ethnic soups.
Is ethnic.
That's what holds me and Taylor's friendship together. That's how this podcast began, was over spiced bone broth.
That's right. And it's only because there's no restaurant in town that will serve just cans of Campbell's soup. That's really what we're looking for. If we really boil it down, we're just looking for somebody to feed us warmed up Campbell's chicken noodle soup, and nobody will do it. So we have to resort to pho.
Yeah, my first time I got pho, it came out in a bowl, and I said, "Excuse me, do you have a handhold cup I can have? I'm not used to this."
A tin can with razor sharp edges that I could just kind of work my way around a little bit. Just don't even fully open it. Just crunch into it and give me about a quarter of the way. I want to take the spoon and kind of angle it up and out and kind of drink the broth. That's. I start strong.
You start strong.
That was always.
There's a reason why you quit comedy.
That's always been you start strong, and then you whisper out. You whisper out of it, and that's it. That's
We're learning as we go.
yeah. So yeah, you know, I haven't seen you in over 100 days.
Correct.
After seeing you pretty regularly,
About once a
almost every
month.
day. Almost every day before that. I mean, when I was still doing comedy.
We went from every day doing comedy, and then
Every
you
day.
quit comedy.
Yes.
And it gave me a bit of a breather.
Yes,
And then we started seeing each other about once a month,
which was healthy.
that's good. That's a good amount of time to see anyone.
I think so. You know, I got you could, you know, talk shit on the comedy community in private to me, and now we can air that all out right now.
Right. Except here's the problem: you don't know anyone anymore because you were out.
Go ahead, just list me off. You know, some people, and you know, I will look confused for a good 20
There's
minutes.
people who have literally had children since you've quit comedy. They have.
Yep. I remember doing a mic easily 2 years ago, and somebody talked about like their friend who quit comedy and then got married and then had a kid. And at the time, they were like, "That sounds nice." And
That's when you saw it all falling apart.
And that was that was the joke. There was no punchline. He was just like, "That sounds nice." And cannot remember for like, but I remember thinking like, "Oh, okay, yeah, weird. That's a weird thought." And then I quit comedy and got engaged, and I was like, "Okay, I get it." Yeah.
You quit comedy, got a dog, and got engaged.
Got a dog. Moved out of.
And you said, "I get it."
Yeah, got a second room. Moved out of a studio into a second room, and I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe this is what I needed."
Yeah, once you started talking to me about looking for 2 bedrooms in Jersey City, I said, "This kid's out."
That's out. That's a cry for help.
So really, the only difference between the quarantine and your regular life, because this has not affected you in any way. What were you doing? You might have lost a few work trips.
Yeah.
You don't go to the gym. Are you playing less pool now?
Oh, I'm playing zero pool. See, that's the problem. Is if I really dove into the issues that are upsetting to me about quarantine, it comes from the most privileged, just the least issues in my life. But I will tell you that last night I audibly like groaned thinking about how much I miss playing pool. Like I was like, that was the biggest problem in my life at that point, was like, I miss going to a bar and playing pool. And Char, bless her heart, was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Like like she was trying her best to be sympathetic, but it's truly, people are dying on a global scale.
Yeah.
And my issue is I can't hit a bunch of balls around on a felt table.
Let me tell you who doesn't want to, what problems people don't want to hear. A graphic designer who can't play pool.
Unemployed graphic designer.
An unemployed graphic designer who can't play pool, and his shoe designing girlfriend. Shut up. No one wants to hear your shit.
Yeah.
You're not relevant anymore. You're done. All right?
Yeah.
Next time someone needs a tequila bottle designed, they'll hit you up. Until then, shut your mouth.
I really wish you would stop telling people that I designed the labels for tequila bottles.
I told everyone you designed tequila.
I need to go on record right now and say that I do not design any labels for my business. And I certainly have not asked Rich to ever tell people that. He just truly has no other example for what graphic design could possibly be.
It's like when I did cancer research and my mom said, "What do you do?" And I said, "Cancer research." And she said, "I'm going to tell people you're a physical therapist." It's the same exact thing. I don't understand your job, so I'm just going to tell people, because you were like, "Oh, my company owns that label." And I said, "Great. I'm going to tell everyone you designed that exact bottle." That is. How else do you think I'm selling this podcast, Taylor? We don't have anything. I was on Barstool Sports for 10 minutes 3 years ago, and I have nothing. So this is all we have.
So I'm going to bring the sponsors. You're saying I'm the guy who brings the sponsorships. This is going to be eventually sponsored by 9 liquor brands.
Exclusively liquor brands, and it's all ones you didn't design. You were less important than I thought you were. Who was your boss?
Oh God, yes. Yeah, I miss playing pool. Miss playing pool. What was the other one that nobody gives a shit about? Oh, about work. I do miss. I miss. People don't get to say it. I miss seeing my coworkers. Nobody says that.
God, you suck.
You know what I mean?
This podcast is gonna suck.
It already. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah. The least nobody has if you have these issues, these are like the lowest rung. But they're the only things that come to mind where I'm like, what's really bothering you about the quarantine?
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
people want to know why Trump's going to win. And I'm going to show them this podcast. It's Taylor saying, I miss playing pool.
and I miss the coworkers.
And I miss my coworkers.
I miss the workspace environment. Tired of working from home. Oh.
So the quarantine's been pretty good.
It's been pretty good. Yeah.
And you never got it.
What?
You don't have it.
Didn't get it? Hey.
Hey, Mike. We're very low budget.
We're very low budget. Didn't get it. Still haven't gotten it.
Did you get tested?
No.
Oh.
No. Should I? Is that
Yeah.
Is that a need to?
Yeah, go to SteadyMD. Mike went twice.
I went twice?
Negative twice. Oh, negative. Second. Oh, yeah, you went back a while ago. Second one twice.
Fucking A.
Yeah, and I don't have antibodies or fucking anything.
You just never had it?
Well, I've told you the story about my
like
COVID scare.
I don't think so.
No?
Well, I haven't seen you since before the quarantine.
I put a little thing on Instagram, so that shows how much you're paying attention to my content.
I got a couple filed away, for another date. I was gonna swing back and catch up on the content.
Okay. Yeah, you're real busy.
that was it.
You're real busy not playing pool. Yeah. So I got checked at SteadyMD.
Yeah.
So did Mike. We both went to SteadyMD, which in hindsight, that was the problem to begin with.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be going to SteadyMD to be tested for the world's largest pandemic.
Because you are worried about getting it at SteadyMD?
No, because it's not good to be brought into a doctor's room by someone with fucking ear gauges. That's not good. That's what I learned from SteadyMD. I don't want people with ear gauges around where I'm also getting medication. I don't want that. I want people with ear gauges around shirts with Kurt Cobain on it.
Well, what if they have little like red plus signs in them? Like he looks like it's like a medical theme of it.
Listen.
Like
Enough
it's a white
with-
gauge with a little plus in it on both. I'd be like, okay, at least he's committing. At least he's committing to the idea. He's like a medical guy,
A hipster medic?
He's a hipster medic. He's a hipster medic. That's great. I would if I would be like, he's got gauges, but they're like on theme. I'd be like, all right, well that's okay. It's pretty
No,
good.
that's not what I'm looking for.
At least he was,
I don't want that at all right?
At least he was aware enough to be like, all right, well, at least let's, I can't. They're gonna close up.
I don't want a guy that's like, so what's the problem? Okay, great. Have you tried green tea? Have you tried a green tea extract? How about niacin? Everyone's preaching fucking niacin now. No one knows what it does. It's a vasodilator. It expands your
It's a what dilator?
vasodilator. It
What's a
expands
what's
your
a-
veins.
Let's take.
It makes it allows increased blood flow.
It expands your veins.
It grows the circumference of the vein.
I know what grow means.
Yeah. Well,
I
it
just
didn't
don't-
sound like you did.
I just don't understand. Like it makes your veins fat or like bigger, and then
Yeah, it
allows
widens
more
them. Correct, and more blood flow. Body's crazy.
Why would
I also am
anybody
going to
wanna
have to
do
double
this?
check that that's correct after this episode because I haven't practiced science in over 2 years. So I'm going to have to double check that as I'm wearing the lab that I used to work with shirt. This might not be the best representation for them, but it's just the truth
That's
of the
gonna hurt
matter.
their image.
It's
Yeah.
going to hurt the image.
Yeah, for the 12 people who watch this.
Thank God I didn't go blackface in this. So yeah, I go there. I go and I get checked, and the doctor comes in, and she goes, what's the problem?" And I said, "I have extreme body aches.
Okay.
I couldn't move my joints. It's the first time that's ever happened to me." So it's like, she's like, "Okay, let's check your temperature." And I had 104-degree fever, and she said, "That's not good." I was like, "All right, so far you have confirmed you're a doctor.
Great.
You have confirmed that is not good."
That was the test.
104 fever. It's a doctor knows that's not good, as
Yeah.
well as my mom.
Yeah, you. She says 104, and she's like, "I think that's okay." And you'd be like, "I need a second opinion."
If that was a problem, I'd be like, "Oh no."
Oh God.
So she's like, "Okay, let's do a flu test." She gives me a flu test.
And sorry, this is during the pandemic?
This was on March 10th,
Oh, so it's right before.
right
the
before
lockdown.
the pandemic.
Oh, okay. So her her instinct wasn't let's test for corona.
So right there, she was
necessarily.
like in full gown, face mask, and like she was prepared for corona. It was right when corona was like becoming a thing.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, we're going to do a flu test
Yeah.
and we'll see what happens. So I was like, great. Gives me a flu test. They put it, flu test, they stick it in your nose. They put it in a little vial. And she's like, we'll wait for 10 minutes for that to come back. She came back in 10 minutes and she said, there's no read. Probably a faulty test.
No read.
There was no read on the flu test.
It wasn't positive or negative.
Just nothing.
Okay. Okay.
She's like, let's do it again. Does it again. Yeah, that also didn't come back after 10 minutes with a read. She did it again for a third time. That also didn't come back. So then she's like, oh, you know what the problem is? I'm using the wrong test. Sorry, I don't do this a lot.
Is it a pregnancy test? Sticking piss strips down your nose.
We'd be using the wrong thing altogether. We're using the wrong orifice. So it was in hindsight, it's my mistake because I thought she was a doctor.
Right.
So that's on me.
Yeah, I mean,
So she came back. Finally, the test, she did it right.
Okay.
And then it came back negative for the flu. And she stared at the vial. She looked at me. She stared at the vial. She looked at the medical scribe who brings you in the room. Looks back at the vial. And looks at me and goes, I don't even know what to do now. I was like, all right, let's start with not being so honest.
Is that when you noticed that her medical certificate was written in crayon and framed on the wall?
And that's when I realized I walked into the Chick-fil-A next door. And everything started coming together. So then she's like, let's do a chest x-ray. She gave me a chest x-ray. And also the guy was like not confident in the chest x-ray when he was giving it to me. I felt like being like, excuse me, just to see what your response is. What does the X in x-ray mean? he would have been like, fucking xylophone? Oh, no.
It feels like if it's like you went to a dentist and right before they got started, he just kind of looked you up and down your body and just kept saying, all right, now teeth. Where am I gonna find teeth? And that is my impression of a not confident dentist.
It says, like, when it was like chest, he's like, okay, I have to give this guy a chest x-ray. And then there was like a painting of a body next to the x-ray machine. And he goes, chest. All right, we did it. Because that's what it seems like City MD is. City MD is just a place, it's like, you want to be a doctor?
Yeah. Like, you're not sure? Like, this was your fallback from your actual dreams? Like,
It's as if everyone there was a graphic designer, and they were like, what's your backup plan now? And they said, doctor.
doctor. They have a
You
poor
might have been
understanding.
too loud.
What?
You might have been too loud this whole time.
Oh, yeah.
We'll
I mean,
see.
when it goes to high red, get a little concerned.
It's
but
the
then-
first episode. Everyone shut up.
Yeah, exactly. Give us a break.
Yeah. If you have a problem with it, fucking call us at this number.
Yeah. And ask me about graphic designers.
Don't do that. Don't ask him anything about that.
Don't ask me anything about graphic designers. I can tell you about 3 graphic designers.
You were also planning on going on trips, if I'm not mistaken. Because you told me you were looking to rent a car.
Yes. So we're doing a little trip.
Oh.
I mean, we're going to Pennsylvania for like a weekend in August with a friend, and then we floated the idea of doing like a road trip, but considering that we're in like the only safe place
Yeah.
at this point, it's like it's like a complete role reversal of like at the beginning it was like New York was the hot spot and everything else was green. And now the rest of the country is red, and New York is
good.
I saw that on a map. It was just like all the hot spots, and then it was just like a green dot for like New York or like the East Coast. And I was like, that cannot be accurate. And it was, I believe it was, I mean, I didn't do any research.
Well, I think it's because no other governors are talking about their mother's meatballs so much in press conferences. There has to be a correlation between the two. If one of my former science colleagues are listening to this, please conduct a study, infect people with coronavirus, and talk about your mother's meatballs. And if it gets rid of COVID, let us know, because I think we found it. So where are you thinking of going?
If the world were safe,
or are you still not interested in a trip?
We're probably not going to do it. I mean, you know, where are you going to go? What are you going to do?
I went to Albany.
Yeah, how is Albany? I saw you. I saw the thing that you. I laughed very hard at they should have an escalator when you were hiking, and you were.
Yeah, I went escalating.
You went escalating.
That's what I call hiking, because I'm fucking. That's some city shit. Hiking's just escalating.
Nature stairs. That's hiking for you.
It's just a series of rocks.
Yeah.
It's nature stairs.
This fucking nature staircase is bullshit. Fucking takes forever.
I went with the girlfriend to Albany. We vacationed there. That's by far the worst thing COVID has done to anyone, is made me vacation
in Albany. And appreciate it. I'm sure you.
I wouldn't go to the extent of appreciate. I'll agree with you that it's
some
good.
Joy in it. It wasn't absolutely. You weren't dragged there.
Right, I wasn't dragged there. Right, I voluntarily went because so we booked the Airbnb, and before we go, she looks up like things to do in Albany, and she's like, "All right, here's." She's like, I found 10 fun facts about Albany. Fun fact number 2: the park is haunted because it was built on an ancient burial ground. And I was like, that's the second fun fact? That's number 2 on the list of fun facts about Albany.
Fun fact number 3: there was a massacre in the town square. 100 bodies buried underneath the roads.
On top of those bodies, the park. I was like, what's the first fun fact? The water gives you cancer?
Fun fact number 4: the Albany witch trials.
America's Unknown Witch Trials. The Albany Witch Trials. And here's the fun fact about the Albany Witch Trials. Still going on today.
Still going on. Absolutely still going on. The witch trials seem like something that like every town in America probably did at one point. It's just they covered up the history by being like, oh yeah, Salem. Those guys were nuts. those guys were crazy. They really got out of hand with their witch trials. Our stuff, we kept it low key. You know, it was all, you know. That's based in no historical fact. That's just a feeling.
Other towns were like, we didn't burn them.
Yeah, we didn't burn them.
We were burning the witches. We drowned them. Like adults.
Yeah, exactly. Starved them.
Did they starve witches?
I feel like, honestly,
I don't think that's how it worked.
I based it. My understanding of witch trials is based solely off of watching The Crucible, reading The Crucible.
Okay.
And Monty Python's Holy Grail witch trial.
Yeah.
Sketch.
Neither of those first-hand history accounts.
That's what I based my entire understanding of the witch trial.
Also, that's how you dress. You dress like that's your only account of the Salem witch trials.
Oh, and Sabrina on Netflix.
Sabrina on Netflix.
Yeah, they occasionally talk about it. Yeah. You bring it up from time to time. That's it. Those are my 3. I don't know how I function as a human being, because it's just any understanding I have of history is or of knowledge or of fact is just based off of like 3 things I saw on TV through my life. I feel like I don't have many facts.
Yeah, I just watched Inglourious Bastards for the first time.
Yeah.
And first of all, it's taken a lot out of me to not sound like Christoph Waltz, because I watched Inglourious Bastards and then I watched Django for the first time. I watched it back to back. So
You're fighting the urge right now to do it.
Christoph Waltz. Christoph Waltz is very.
Not at all what he sounds like.
He's very.
You're fighting the urge to do a German accent right
It's
now.
not even a German accent. It's very like.
Christoph Waltz absolutely has a German accent.
He does have a German accent, but he sounds like he's licking his lips between every word.
Okay, so you're fighting the urge to lick your lips between every
Yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to get at. But that's not the point.
See, you're like, yeah, I'm doing a real Christoph Waltz.
Also, I wanted to grow out a big beard before this because in Django, all he did was lick his lips
he
and
only does
play with his
that.
beard
And,
and
like-
say the N-word, which I'm not going to do on this podcast. I'll do it on the Patreon once we start one.
That little gun. That little gun is so cool in Django.
Where he put it on the back of his hand. No, that's Inglourious Bastards. Fuck.
Yeah.
Ah.
The punch gun.
Yeah, that was
Punch
cool.
gun was cool, and then the little gun, and then yeah.
But the point I'm trying to get at with
Yeah,
Inglourious
sorry, we got
Bastards,
way off.
But it's very similar to what we just if I didn't know anything about World War II, which I think a few people in the middle of our country don't.
Yeah.
If I didn't know anything about World War II and I watched that movie, I'd be like, oh, that's how it ended.
Yeah. We got him.
Yeah.
we got him. It doesn't matter how we got him, but we got him. Like, you got the history down.
Brad Pitt
Yeah.
and Ryan from The Office,
Yeah.
which, by the way, was the acting in that movie, the discrepancy. That's not the word that I'm looking to use.
The variation.
The range.
The range.
The range in that
The
movie.
range.
At the end where it's Brad Pitt. First of all, if you haven't seen Inglourious Bastards, it's 5 years old. Go fuck yourself. I'm about to say some shit.
It's also, yeah, I mean, what who's waiting? Who's like, I was about to watch it.
Right.
I was about to watch it, and then I watched this first episode of a podcast
Sorry,
of
20 of you.
Yeah, exactly. All 12 of you, big graphic design fans who stuck around, hoping we'd really get into it. Yeah. So go ahead, spoil Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, so at the end, towards the end, where it's I'm playing around with this, where it's Christoph Waltz, Brad Pitt, and then BJ Novak.
Yes, Ryan.
Where they finally captured BJ and Brad Pitt and brought him into that little restaurant into the back room.
Sure. Yes.
Okay. Has anyone been more out of place than BJ Novak in that scene in
Yes.
the world in any capacity?
He just looks like I know he was in there since the beginning of the movie, but like it looks like he's just been out of the room for all the violence throughout he doesn't look like he's experienced a single moment
No.
of violence in that entire film. It looks like in that scene where they break the guy out of prison and the guy's like running around like shooting everything. I feel like BJ Novak just walks in just after that with a donut in his mouth. Like, what did I miss? And he still has that like innocence about him. And I picture him through the entire movie. Like after they bludgeon the guy in that valley, he's also walks in with a donut in his mouth. He's like, what did I miss? I don't understand. Oh, guys, you got to tell me when we're bludgeoning Nazis.
He seemed like in that whole movie, if you were to say, the Nazis are killing a lot of Jews, he would have been like, what? That was his vibe the whole movie.
Is that what we're doing here? Right. Damn.
They're what?
They're what? Whoa, what?
He's like, this is a lot more different than The Office.
Yeah, he finds out
says
about
that
it. He's
in
like,
the movie.
Yeah, he's like, well, we got to do something about that. And he's like, well, what do you think we're
We've been
doing in
doing
Germany?
It's like, is that why we're here?
Is that what we're doing?
Are we killing?
I totally zoned out in the whole conversation.
Is that why we're all Jewish?
That was the twist of the movie. Is BJ Novak does not know why he's in Germany
Also,
in the 40s.
why is Brad Pitt's character, a guy from the sticks of West Virginia, leading a team of Jews? That was never explained.
They don't explain why he was picked, but I think isn't there something like he says he's got a little Native American in him, and he's sort of like saying like we're gonna do an Apache thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's not a good explanation.
It's not a good explanation.
I think they were trying to make some comparison of like he understands what it's like to fight against like a large body because of his heritage.
Oh, then they really stretched.
Yeah. Oh, it's super stretched. Yes, they picked a white guy to go. I'm part Native American by like 1/16th, so I should lead this group of Jews into Germany. And they were like, okay, okay, Brad Pitt.
And something tells me Brad Pitt's character, with that logic, still wouldn't vote for Elizabeth Warren. That's just a feeling I have.
His character would go, even for me, I think that's pretty thin.
By the way, rate, subscribe, watch the YouTube.
Hit the like button.
Right. Hit the like button.
Yeah.
Give us a review.
I've always wanted to unironically say that. I've said that in conversation where I go like and subscribe, just for fun, just to say it. And now I really get to say it. And that's great. To 6 people.
I'm also not thinking about what this change of volume will do for the episode in general.
Yeah.
But we're doing it.
Yeah. So anyway, Paul Rand. Amazing designer, 1940s, 50s, designed the IBM logo.
Oh, yeah, real original.
Yes. What do you...
Isn't the IBM logo just IBM in black letters? That's what you graphic design.
Like the IBM logo existed before, like logos.
This is the problem, and this is why.
Oh, real original Paul Rand.
This is why people hate creatives. It's because you're like, he invented the IBM logo, and then I say, isn't that just the letters IBM in black? And you're like, yeah, how great's that? This is the problem with the liberal arts education. All right, is that you think that's a genius idea.
I'm picturing you with like any semblance of like creative invention, like Jackson Pollock throwing real original Jackson Pollock.
Yeah,
splatter painting on a giant kid.
I have a problem with Andy Warhol. You want me to tell you that? My girlfriend took me to that stupid fucking museum. Did you know he didn't even do that work?
Yeah.
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 That's he didn't even take the pictures that they're replicating.
That's what's called a creative director.
Fuck that guy. There's a whole museum. I'm like, oh, did he take a picture of Marilyn Monroe? And my girlfriend was like, no.
No.
I was like, oh, so he made the colors?
Yeah.
And she said, no.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. Well, yeah, at least like he pressed down everything. And she's like, he didn't do that either.
No.
And I was like, okay. Then let me ask you a question. What in here did this guy do? Because it seems like nothing. It seems like fucking nothing this guy did. His most famous thing is a can of soup.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
Yeah. He's something. He's something else. It's very funny because I feel like a lot of art, and this is the podcast now. This is
at least the first episode. Let me tell you, it's not where I wanted it to go.
Yeah. I had this whole thing planned out.
I had a whole thing in my head where this was going to go, and it wasn't this. God, my family all said, oh, we're going to be listening, Rich. I saw him on Saturday. They said, Rich, we're going to be listening. Let me tell you something. They're out. They've been out 3 minutes in.
They were like, all right, you kind of had us with the Salem bit, but then now we're out. We're fully out. You keep talking about creativity, and that's just not us.
Yeah,
that's just. We liked when you said Bennigan's. That was.
No one in my family knows what Bennigan's is.
It's a restaurant, right?
Bennigan's is a restaurant.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
I've only seen one in my life.
I was afraid that I had talked about like a made up restaurant from like a TV show.
No, well, it is in South Park, but it is a real restaurant.
It is a real restaurant, right?
It's a real restaurant.
Okay.
No,
because I was a little worried that I had just made up a restaurant.
No,
only exists in like some movie from the 80s or something.
Well, what I realized from doing comedy, because I don't know if people watching this know, but you have to really work on your material, and what starts off isn't what ends.
Yeah,
as the final bit. So I have a bit, and I don't know if Taylor's familiar with it, where I say where my grandma passed away, and we had a dinner in her honor at California Pizza Kitchen. Now, that's how I tell the joke.
Yeah,
that's not what actually happened. What actually happened is we had a dinner in my grandmother's honor at a restaurant called Hula Hands. This is true. My family got together after my grandma died, and they said, what's the best way to remember her? And we all agreed, potato skins. We all agreed, we agreed loaded potato skins would be the best. But what I've learned from doing comedy is that really not a lot of people know what hula hands is.
Yeah. Right.
So I switched to California Pizza Kitchen.
Yeah, much better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why you're saying Bennigan's. You're like, is that a restaurant? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The problem is people do better than us, and they don't know that's real. So I had to switch up my family history to accommodate others.
Yeah, because you'd have to take an extra 5 minutes just to explain hula hands, I assume. Right.
Right.
At least you go like, in a very unfunny way. Let me explain to you why I couldn't just do California Pizza Kitchen.
Right. That would be much. I couldn't punch that up as well. Everyone knows what California Pizza Kitchen is.
It would be amazing if you just had a fire bit about explaining what hula hands is. I think that would be very funny. I'm gonna get some water real quick.
Get some water. All right. This is a good time to do some ad reads.
Yeah, who's our sponsor today?
We have no sponsors,
No sponsors.
and I don't think we're going to get any anytime soon.
Okay.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Do we have any emails from the fans? Questions from the emails in from viewers? No emails in.
No. I have someone, like a family member of mine said, "Oh, my son has a baseball podcast. You guys going to be talking about baseball?" And I said,
Baseball.
"What's the opposite?" Because that's what my co-host is like.
Andy Warhol. the opposite of baseball is Andy Warhol. That's the opposite. If you were like, what's the opposite topic of an extensive read into baseball? It's criticizing heavily Andy Warhol's contribution to art.
You want me to criticize more art? I'll give you more.
I would love it. I think that's fantastic.
So, my girlfriend also took me to the MoMA. You want to know what my problem with that is?
Yeah.
First of all, let me just make sure I'm saying the right place. MoMA is the museum on the Upper East Side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you not know the acronym?
Museum of Modern Art.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
I know what the acronym is. I just want to make sure the building I'm saying is
yes.
the correct
Okay.
building.
Oh, okay.
I know it's
Yes.
not the Guggenheim. It's the
Yeah, the Guggenheim looks like
a spaceship.
yeah, sure. That or a tornado.
Or
I think-
tornado.
I think it looks a bit like a tornado.
That's good.
This is a graphic design degree.
This is
You say flying saucer, and I, the cultured intellectual, says it's a tornado. That's what a.
and at the end of the day, it's just round.
It's just. I think it's great looking, but I also think it's very stupid looking. I feel like that you just.
We're not getting into this.
We got
I
to
don't
do
know,
it.
'cause first of
Architecture.
all-
It's architecture.
Right, you're not even qualified to talk about this. All right. All right. I'll ask you questions about color schemes.
My understanding of Guggenheim is based on that scene in Men in Black where Will Smith runs up the Guggenheim. He runs up and around it to chase down that alien at the
Right,
beginning
that's
of
like
the
a
movie.
tornado.
Yeah, it's like a tornado. I was like, yeah. Okay, continue.
So I went to the MoMA,
Yes.
and what it seems to me is 80% of the MoMA is the same picture of Jesus painted by a lot of different people at different times.
I don't think you went to the MoMA.
That
doesn't
1,000% went to the MoMA.
Was it an exhibition about people painting Jesus?
Because they had an exhibition about guitars.
Oh, so it's like the different genres is what you're talking about. Like the different ways that people painted it?
It was just, first of all, almost every picture has Jesus in it, and most of them were the same picture of Jesus. I walked around there for 3 hours.
I have been to the MoMA. I cannot possibly think of what you're talking about.
I could look it up. but
I
it wouldn't help
I love what you're saying because I kind of get what you're trying to say is that it's just the same medium over and over again.
No, I am saying that, but I'm also saying there's a lot of the same picture of Jesus over and over again.
What like being crucified?
No, I will try to find the picture. Also, there's a lot of the same where it's Mary.
Yes.
Mary holding the little baby Jesus like this,
Yes.
and the little baby Jesus is here.
Yeah.
Here. And then the little baby Jesus has like the one finger up like this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those pictures.
Yeah. There is a stupid amount of time in art history where like that was the dope shit to paint.
Right, and I get that.
Yeah, I don't. Again, this is art history, not my strong suit. Graphic design, barely my strong suit.
Yeah. Surprise. If you look up Jesus MoMA, it doesn't pop up.
Yeah.
All right. It's not important.
That's okay. Yeah, so you saw a bunch of pictures of Jesus, which I think you had a religious experience. That sounds like you saw what your mind wanted you to see, which is Jesus on every painting. And you found God at the MoMA.
Yeah. It just reinforced my belief that I hate art and I hate God. It's just the truth of the matter. And you also know what happened after that? I
stepped in dog shit, okay? And that is the issue that I have with art, is that I'm always stepping in dog shit after I go and look. Was that what you were gonna?
No. It was on my birthday. Our birthday, September 14th. Fun fact, me and Taylor have the same birthday.
How does that not have anything to do with the name of this podcast? I think that is...
Because I'm the star, Taylor.
I think that is the most brilliant...
Listen, if you didn't want to
so
quit comedy,
fucking-
your name could have been in this podcast too. But you decided to have a happy life. So I'm the one who put $500 into this podcast, and I'm going to put my name on it. All right? So next time.
It's like this podcast is, you and I are doing a bringer show that's continuously go. It's like you'll bring 5 fans, I'll bring 2 fans, and you've paid $500
Right.
to do this.
Right. Don't worry about it. This is nothing for you. You're basically the headliner. You're doing better than I am right now. And also, let's make sure that once we put up a Patreon and we start making money, you're not getting any.
This is the verbal contract. This is
You all heard it first. You're all lawyers now.
Yeah, exactly. You are all witnesses to this. We will see you in court. Testify.
But yeah, so I left the MoMA.
You
on my
left the
birthday.
MoMA, stepped in
Went
dog
to the
shit.
MoMA on my birthday, and then I had a show at Stand Up New York, directly across Central Park. I went there. I bombed my balls off, and then they brought up a cake and sang my birthday in front of the crowd I just bombed in front of. And you know what the cake said? The cake said, "Happy birthday." That all happened within 2 hours of each other.
That feels like the equivalent of it's like a kid's birthday party and he poops himself right before they bring out the cake. You bombing on stage is the equivalent of a child shitting himself right before.
Yeah.
They sing happy birthday to him. It's the same feeling of shame and self-loathing, and then you're like, happy birthday.
I'd rather have shit my pants. At least I would have had something to run off of. It's like how you guys doing, and they gave me nothing.
Yeah. And then you shit yourself. So yeah, quarantine's been okay.
Quarantine's been okay.
Yeah. So you went to Albany. You went to terrible Andy Warhol. My mom went a couple years ago. This is an art podcast now. I've hijacked this. I've hijacked this podcast, and it is an art themed podcast. Where two people who understand nothing about the art world learn nothing about the art world and just talk about it. We're just going to talk about it. Do they have that Lego Andy Warhol thing where it's like a thing made out of Legos?
I saw the Andy Warhol museum at the museum.
Right, but there's like something that it's like another artist made something inspired by Andy Warhol's work and they put it in the Andy Warhol Museum, right?
I didn't notice a Lego thing. I also wasn't really paying attention.
you were just blind rage about finding out that he did none of this work.
I was there. Yeah, once she told me that he did none of the work, I mentally checked out.
Yeah, I get that. So you went to Albany. You went hiking.
Went to Albany. We went hiking. I get it. Hiking's okay.
Yeah, I get the gist of it. I don't. You really got to sell me on a hike. You really, if somebody's like, "Let's go hiking," you really got to be like, "There's a beautiful view," or "We're seeing a waterfall."
So we go to this place that's supposed to have a beautiful waterfall. We get there, closed due to COVID. The trail is closed due to COVID because they're like, we're afraid too many people will congregate.
Yeah.
And then you had one guy who walked up to the state trooper and was like, "Oh yeah, well people are allowed to protest and I can't go down here." And I said, "I'm out."
Yeah, I'm not sticking around for that.
So we walked down a trail. We had no idea where it was going. We walked down for an hour, and then there was an arrow pointing up. So we just went up. Ended up being this gigantic peak. We just climbed up these rocks. Huge peak overlooking the entire Hudson and all Hudson Valley. And I get it. I get hiking. It's I mean, let's also be honest. If there's no peak at the end, you're just walking through trees.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Why would I drive somewhere to walk through trees?
It makes no sense.
Makes zero sense.
And it 4 times that week.
You went on 4 hikes?
Went on 4 hikes. And I saw 2 waterfalls. No, I saw 1 waterfall. And let me tell you, underwhelming.
Yeah. That sounds if somebody pitched me a weekend that was like, we're going to go hiking 4 times, not going. I'm not going. I'm not showing up to that.
She likes to hike.
She likes to hike.
She's a big hike fan. So I was like, you know what? She comes to my shows. It's fair. We'll do the hikes.
Yeah.
You saw me bomb and then eat a birthday cake. So
yeah, seeing you perform must be like an emotional hike for her.
Right.
You know?
100%.
And you bombing is just walking through trees for 4 hours. There's no payoff at all.
Oh, it's worth it. I get it. We all lose in one aspect here. Also, you want to hear a little story about Albany? So last night there, we order a pizza.
Okay.
So we order the pizza. We walk around the corner to go to the pizza place. Mm-hmm. Black Lives Matter protest happening directly in front of the pizzeria.
Okay.
So I walk through the protest to get the pizza, and let me tell you something. It's not a good look to be a white guy walking through a Black Lives Matter protest with a pizza. All right, and you know what's an even worse look? When you make it to the other side of the protest with the pizza and realize they forgot the wings. So, that's even worse.
Oh, I'm picturing you just being as polite and understanding as possible with an extra large pizza, just like kind of moving like
You're just like, excuse me, I got a pizza here. We're heading back.
Yeah, you're playing a little bit of Frogger. You know, you're just moving in between people, and then those damn wings.
I was just praying they didn't go on a knee because I would have been exposed.
Oh God, pizza.
So that's Albany.
That was your experience.
Yeah,
Andy Warhol hiking.
No Andy Warhol at Albany.
Where was Andy Warhol?
That was months ago. I went to a museum in meatpacking.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a while ago. That was it's an art podcast now, so I threw it in.
Right. Yeah, that's good.
But Albany also, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of plaques in Albany that are about why are we here? And
what is that like? Why are you?
Why is Albany a thing? Why is this a city?
I think a lot of places need more reasons for why they exist and more plaques explaining why they exist.
Yes.
There are certain, besides gas, to get gas, you need to get gas on your way to someplace else.
Right.
There should be at least some other explanation of why is this not just a gas station?
Yes.
In the middle of wilderness.
Yeah.
Why is this? Why here? Have you? You definitely have not seen this movie, but it is Waiting for Guffman. Christopher Guest. He's the guy who did Best in Show. Have you ever heard of Best in Show?
I know Best in Show.
Yeah, Best in Show. It was like the first movie that or one of the first movies that he did, and it was about this town. They do a play of Oklahoma, but I don't think it's in Oklahoma. Anyway, they talk about the founding of this town. That's it. It's the founding of the town. Doesn't matter. They talk about how the frontiersman was taking them west, and he drinks some salt. He drinks what he drinks is salt water, and he's like, all right, we made it. We made it to the west coast, and they were in Missouri.
Okay.
And then they just found the town on that. So
really?
They were like, we made it to the West Coast. It's stupid. It's like a mockumentary thing, but that's what I think about a lot of towns driving around is they must have thought this was the edge of the country and they've only made it to Ohio.
Yeah, that's what I would assume. Also, Albany's whole selling point is the Erie Canal used to be here. That's their big thing. It's like, why is this city here? And they're like, the Erie Canal. And you're like, oh, where is the Erie Canal? And they're like, oh, it's not here anymore.
How shitty is your city? I like the way that sounded. That you lose a canal.
They moved it up.
They moved it.
Like
you lost a canal.
Move up a canal.
You had a canal and you lost it.
and you're out.
And now the loss of it is your culture.
Right.
Yes, that is the culture. Oh, we lost a lot of Albany fans just now.
Yeah, and
Or fans of Albany, people who live in those are two separate.
that's
people.
also
People who
half my
live in
demographic.
Yeah.
Last summer when I did shows in Saratoga, I sold tickets and I couldn't sell tickets down here. It's just the truth of the matter. I got 30 people to go in fucking Saratoga. I got no one to come into the city.
All right, so you did Albany.
I'm going to be a groomsman. I was asked to be one of my best friend's groomsmen.
Oh, shut up. That's great.
That'll be good.
2023? 2020,
No,
2020.
December 2020.
Woo.
Yeah, we're going to see how it goes.
Woo.
Yeah.
That is nothing. I think it's terrible. It's terrible that people can't get married and they got to push it back years and like you got to make these big adjustments. But there is something wild about the people who haven't given up on 2020 yet, wedding wise.
Yeah, they're December 19th. I don't know if I should say that. But they're December 19th, 2020 in Albany. First of all, Albany, restaurants, packed. Indoors too.
Yeah.
Packed. We had to wait 20 minutes for a table one night.
Yeah.
Packed. They don't give a fuck up there.
Yeah.
So I think the wedding's going to be on.
That's so wild. I have a wedding that's supposed to be in Pennsylvania in end of August.
Okay.
So
That's no.
we got the invitation today. The actual invite for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, meaning that it's still very much on.
Wow.
Yeah. Our response was a tentative we'll see what the cases are like. That's the only explanation that you can give because you don't, I mean, it could go down. Probably
In Allentown?
No, it's out. I think it's outside of. It could be Allentown. I think it's like outside of Harrisburg. Like probably like at most like.
Oh, you're from Harrisburg.
I'm from Harrisburg.
I said Allentown. I know 3 places in Philly. I know Philadelphia. I know East Stroudsburg. And I know Allentown.
And you know Harrisburg.
Well, yeah. But I don't know Harrisburg.
You know,
Allentown is Downey Park, right?
I don't know. I know the name.
Okay.
I understand so little about Pennsylvania. It's like, it's kind of 8 states combined into one. A little bit.
You guys are crazy.
It's fucking wild. My experience growing up in Pennsylvania was I would only see Harrisburg, Philadelphia, and that's
Harrisburg's
it.
the state capital, right?
State capital.
Fuck you, everyone. I knew that.
Yeah, you got there.
Yeah.
You didn't know what it was 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, but I knew it was
You
the
were like,
capital.
you're clinging to your knowledge of Pennsylvania. You list your 3 cities that you know, and you don't mention Harrisburg.
And they have a minor
And then
league
you're
baseball team.
And the Senators.
Oh, I was on a stretch on that one. I just assumed they had one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, you big Senators fan? You big Harrisburg Senators fan?
Big Harrisburg Senators fan.
Oh man,
Yeah, and
massive.
the Hershey Bears.
Nice, good one.
Yeah, hockey.
It's
Minor
great.
league hockey.
It's great. It's
Yeah,
great
we
pull.
lost everyone.
Yeah,
We tried to hit every demographic and we hit none.
Yeah, yeah. This is now a sports podcast.
It's a sports art podcast.
Yeah, sports art podcast. There's like one graphic designer sitting at their desk in a hockey jersey going, fuck yes, this is it. This is what I've been looking for.
I need loose facts about everything I enjoy.
I need wrong information about things that I love. That's the abstract of this podcast. Wrong information about things that you love.
I think that's it.
I think that's great.
We did it. First
did.
episode in the books.
Oh boy, I would say we put a foot right up to the line. I think we cleared it. I want to say that I stuck the landing on explaining famous graphic designers.
I feel like that's where it really turned. And we'll see if it's for the worse or the better.
Oh God, I've literally this entire hour I've just been sitting around just playing it back in my head, going, I think that's a point. I think that's a point. Probably not a point at all. Yeah. So yeah.
All right. Well, for episode 2, you guys can't say anything because I'm releasing all the first 5 episodes at once.
Oh,
So fucking deal with it and go to the
yes.
next one, you dumb fucks.
Yeah. Oh, I keep doing that. I was doing it ironically, like this thing
that-
from high school.
right.
Now I just do it. It's terrible. Is this the start of episode 2?
This is it's the start of nothing. I'm ending it.
It's a roll.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.